A Path to Weight Loss and Health Gain, Part 2. Transmitter 42. In this episode, we pick up where we left off last week on how to get healthier this year with tips and techniques from Kimberley Huggins, a certified low-carb keto nutritional supplement certified Primal Health Coach. She shares what she's learned from her health journey with specific emphasis on obtaining lasting weight loss with a corresponding health gain. Want to get healthier this year? Don't touch that dial. Please welcome Kimberley Huggins to Transmitter 42. Welcome back, Kimberley.
Hello.
So, I think last week we got through basically an introduction. We didn't actually get to the actual list of things. So,
it's typical.
Lots to talk about on this topic, of course. So, thank you for coming back. So, where do we begin on now the actual tips and techniques?
Well, I think I just want to kind of give just an overall little bit of framework, and then I think I'm just gonna throw out just various ideas and or tips, and we can talk about them.
Okay.
So I think we discussed this last week, but I'm just gonna reiterate that fat accumulation is regulated by your insulin levels and dietary carbohydrates.
Okay.
So that kind of leads to, that's why your diet is so important, because everything you eat elevates your insulin. As long as your insulin is high, it will be hard to lose weight because insulin is a fat storing hormone. That's also why people who actually take insulin find it very difficult to lose weight. And it is quite the conundrum, although I have my own theory about that, but it is quite the conundrum to me that people who are insulin resistant are injecting more insulin into their bodies.
And this fact of yours is not well known.
No, and that's a whole nother episode. But I just want, so if you're taking insulin, now I'm not telling you to just stop your insulin. You can't do that. If you want to get off insulin, like injections, it is possible to reduce your medications, but you have to find a doctor that is willing to work with you while you do that. Some people, depending on how they respond, if they change their diet enough, they can have a significant impact very quickly. It's going to depend on how metabolically damaged you are. Your sugar will drop before your insulin. And there is other things that do affect your insulin. I don't really remember how much we talked about it, but your insulin can be affected by other things like stress and cortisol and illness, but food is the number one thing. So,
just to be clear, we're talking about type 2 folks, correct?
We're not talking about type 1. And so dietary would mean specifically the carbohydrates. Okay. When I say carbohydrates, I want you to understand I mean sugar. And when I say sugar, I want you to understand that I mean grains and starches, because that's all carbohydrates. And that's what carbohydrates are, sugar. So a complex carbohydrate is just a bunch of sugar molecules holding hands.
Okay.
Instead of one sugar molecule, it's a bunch of sugar molecules holding hands. And as soon as you put it in your mouth, the first bit of digestion starts, the first phase of digestion starts, your saliva hits the food and starts to digest it. And the molecules are broken. So it's straight sugar. So carbs drive insulin and insulin drives fat. Now, so the solution to obesity and the obesity epidemic is not getting people to move more and eat less. I think we talked about that last week. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So, and that's what we've heard from doctors for years. I mean, I will just say myself, one of my own health challenges, I don't know if I've shared this on another program, but one of the things that really got me going down the rabbit hole after my cancer diagnosis was I had fatty liver. Okay. And all the doctors will tell you is, oh, just lose weight. Thanks. I mean, if we could all just do it like that, there would be, the world would be a lot simpler. So you don't really, the point is to just say it like that. It doesn't really work like that because calories in, calories out is an outdated model. It's actually a flawed model. So the way to do it is really restricting the causative agent, okay, which is what you're eating. Just like I said, the carbohydrates, the refined grains, the sugars, and the starches. Now, if we lived in a different world, I know a lot of people are saying, well, we've eaten bread for thousands of years. We've eaten these foods for thousands of years. True. But our food has not been as adulterated in all this time as it is now. We don't have the abundance. We've never had the abundance of food in human history that we have now. We've never been conditioned to eat every 2 hours as a human species like we are now. So a lot of things have gone wrong in the last 50 to 100 years in the form of how we're eating, what we're eating, when we're eating. So...
Got it.
So, to some tips. Okay. So, now I'm going to start with this one because this has been kind of, it's kind of like burst onto the scene lately. And you're going to see it in marketing, which is eat more protein. Okay. Now, if you've been following the newly released food guidelines, okay, that's obvious with the protein and dairy at the top now of the inverted pyramid, okay? And that's legit. Most of us are not eating enough protein. And when I say that, I want to be very specific in that we're not eating the right kind of protein. So when I say eat more protein, I'm specifically talking about animal protein. So anybody out there who's a vegan or a vegetarian, you're not going to like hearing this, but I can only tell you that animal protein is what humans are meant to absorb. It's the most nutritional value to us. Plant protein is inferior to animal protein in every way. And it's especially important for you to eat more protein as you get older to help you combat your loss of muscle that is going to happen to you if you're not eating correctly and you're not strength training. So it's really important. Just to average, you need about 1 gram per pound of your ideal weight every day. If you eat more protein, it will preserve your lean muscle. It will boost your metabolism. It will lower your hunger hormone, and it will increase your satiety. So you actually end up eating less without trying to eat less because you're naturally getting full. Most people are only eating about half of what you really need because you have to remember too, it's not necessarily what you eat, it's what you absorb. And so just eat more protein. Now, as far as the marketing goes, please do not fall for the Snickers bar that says more protein.
Yes, they've rolled onto the scene all of a sudden.
Okay. you still have to check the ingredients. It doesn't matter how much protein is in it if the ingredient list is a paragraph long, because that's junk food, it's chemicals, it's frankenfood, and you shouldn't be eating it. You also shouldn't be eating it if it's boasting about how much protein it has, but if the carbohydrate level of the thing is through the roof, that's not helpful to you. So you don't get to say, oh, but it has so much protein in it. If it's junk food, or if it's a lot of chemicals, or if it's full of carbohydrates, you need to pass on that one. So if you'll just stick to real natural food sources, find what you like. I mean, well, I say find what you like, but beef is so nutritious for humans. It just is. It's a superfood. I don't know what to say. It just is. But yes, salmon is good. Eggs are good. Seafood, anything animal protein, you should be eating it. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah. And do not fall for the too much protein will hurt your kidneys line, because unless you already have kidney disease, okay, that means I'm not talking to you, okay? If you're a healthy, normal person without a kidney problem, you're not going to eat too much protein to hurt your kidneys, okay? So don't worry about that.
Is that where this notion comes from?
It does.
Like way older folk, everyone's kidneys get weaker when you get older, it seems.
They do. But one of the reasons why it's important to eat now correctly is so you don't end up like that. Now, I can just I have an elderly mom right now, okay? She's going to be 82. And I can look at her and I can see what a lifetime of all these wrong choices has gotten her. Okay. And my goal, and I this is my wish for everyone. Your goal should be to be on 0 medications. Now, I'm not 100% anti-medication, but I do think medication should be a last resort. It should not be the first thing the doctor goes to. Now, I'm not talking about like you need an antibiotic. Okay, you got strep throat. Yeah, you take the antibiotic. But I'm talking about for like a chronic condition. What we're seeing now is people are going into the doctor and they're getting diagnosed for the first time with type 2, and they want to put them on metformin right away, or they want to put them on Ozempic or glizepatide or blah, 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 whatever other name, Wegovy or Mounjaro or this or that.
So weight loss drugs are sometimes used when type 2 is the topic?
Oh, that's where they came from.
Oh. They've been repurposed, have they?
So, and let me just tell you the little nifty little trick there. People will say there's no evidence that these medications are harmful when used for weight loss, okay? But that's because all the studies that were done, they fall under the diabetic research. And if you go and look at these drugs under the diabetic research, there's plenty of problems. Number one being, and I do think this is the biggest one, because people don't understand as you get older. Now, I'm 57, so I'm talking about myself. Okay, muscle is longevity. If you want to be able to be independent for as long as possible, you have to keep your muscles. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but does mean you have to be able to get up off the toilet. It does mean you have to be able to bring your groceries in, especially if you don't have anybody that can help you, if you don't have somebody that can visit you or whatever. The moment you can't get up out of a chair, the moment you can't get up off the toilet, you are independent no longer. And sitting in your recliner every day after you're retired does not help you. And I would even say, as a walker, walking is very important for a lot of reasons, but it does not keep you strong. You actually have to bear body weight or something heavier to combat the muscle loss you're going to get every year as you age. And Ozempic or any of these weight loss drugs, people, they work. Okay. Yeah. For most people, they do work. Now, if they can get past stomach paralysis and nausea and vomiting and, all of those things. But
how prevalent is that? Do we know?
It's pretty prevalent.
Enough that a lot of people are talking about it on the various groups, right?
Yeah. It's enough that a lot of people can't stay on the medication.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then the cost, up until now, for a lot of people, it was a cost issue. They couldn't afford to continue to pay for it. But they're going to make it very easy to get because the companies that are marketing these drugs, they know a bonanza when they see it. And that's because we're all overweight. We all,
Yes, as a nation.
So, but
it was our first clue that something was wrong.
But if you go on these, now, let me back up a minute. If you're 600 pounds, okay, yeah, weigh the risk versus the reward. You're probably, you're in serious trouble. If you don't drop some weight quickly, it's not going to be good. But a lot of people, I think, are taking this medication. First of all, a lot of women, they're taking it because, frankly, it's the in thing to do, which sounds crazy to me, but it's true. I know people. And then there's the biggest problem for me is everybody, when you say I want to lose weight, and what you really mean is you want to lose fat.
Right.
Okay? But you're not just going to lose fat. 40 to 60% of the weight you lose is muscle when you're on these drugs. Okay? And your heart's a muscle. And you can't afford to lose muscle mass if you're over 40. I don't think you could. There's no world where you should want to lose muscle mass because like I said, muscle is longevity. It keeps you young. It keeps your body. Another thing people don't understand, your bones are strong because your muscles are strong. Your muscles get weak. That's why your bones get brittle. It's not because you haven't had enough calcium. That's another myth too. It's because you're allowing yourself to become weaker. Okay? It's not about calcium. It's about what you do and what you eat. So, eat more protein. Cut the liquid calories. Might seem obvious, but I don't think it's really obvious for Americans.
The triple frappuccino?
I know. Rolling through Starbucks every day and getting that unicorn sparkle drink, whatever it is. It's some ridiculous amount of sugar. So cut your liquid calories. That means, let's just say liquid calories, spike your insulin so you get the automatic spike, flood your liver, and kills fat loss. Okay? So if you were trying to lose weight, and that goes back to liquid calories. So alcohol, if you're a beer drinker, that's liquid bread. That's all you're drinking. If you're drinking beer on a regular basis, I don't care how many calories it has. People will say, "Oh, I drink the light beer." It doesn't matter because it's not about calories. It's about the alcohol. Your body cannot do anything until it burns that off. You get zero satiety from liquid calories. So no soda, no alcohol, no creamers. Everybody in America is in love with their coffee creamer. Okay. Not only is that bad for you, it's most of that's fake food. It's Frankenfood. Think about it. Creamer that can just sit out on the table and never have to be refrigerated. What do y'all think's in it?
Yes. It's like moldless cheese.
Right. And then this is going to be a tough one for people, but it's true. You have to understand. No juice. Okay. Juice spikes your sugar and your insulin more than soda.
You're talking about fruit juices,
yes.
Right?
It's not healthy. It goes straight to your liver. It contributes to fatty liver disease. Okay. And most of the people are walking around this country right now with fatty liver and they don't even know it because there's not really any symptoms. It's just that.
Is there a direct test for it?
Well, what would really happen is your enzymes would be off, and then if they decided to take a CT of your pelvis, they could tell you. It's really the only way you would know. But I would bet money, and I don't bet money, but if you have any of the 5 metabolic markers for dysfunction, you probably got a fatty liver. If you're carrying any weight in your midsection, you've got a fatty liver because that's what that is. That visceral fat is fat around your organs, and that's a fatty liver too. So, and your liver does so much. I mean, people don't even understand how much your liver does. It's very important, and you don't want a fatty liver. So cut the liquid calories. You can find ways around it. And I would even say, I'm not saying like, if you like to go out on the weekend and have a drink with your friends, okay, first of all, you have to understand that that's not a cheat day. That's a sabotage day. Okay? And it's a whole nother show to talk about why you shouldn't feel like you have to drink when you're with your friends. But there are better choices. Beer is not a good choice. Vodka with lemon, that's a better choice. Now, obviously, you can't have 8 vodkas with lemon. So you're going, but that's a way if you really want to have a drink, just stay away from beer, stay away from sweet wine. Don't get mixers. Don't get the drinks that have a mixer. So, no pina colada, no margarita, and none of that crazy, no. And it's not about doing without, it's just about doing different. So in your regular life, if you can have coffee, you can have coffee with creamer, but get real cream. Don't get creamer. Don't get Coffee Mate or the Delight, whatever they call, all those refrigerated coffee creamers. No, they're full of chemicals. They're horrible.
Something just dawned on me about cocktails, essentially. They're always small. Now, if you get a whiskey sour, you get in the mixers and all the stuff that's wrong, but you're getting a fairly confined amount. I only say that when you compare it to a glass of fruit punch or some Frappuccino thing from Starbucks, where we're talking a cup to a pint of sugar water.
Mm-hmm.
So your advice is still sound, but I am going to contrast the ways of old. The treats, if you want to call it that, were always small. The ice cream cone only had 1 scoop on it.
I was just getting ready to say desserts are a perfect example of that. They used to be much smaller. It was really just a few bites.
A taste.
It wasn't half a cake.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be an experience for a half hour.
Right.
Right.
And part of that is because we've been driven. It just like we've had this consumer culture with things where we were talking recently about how nothing lasts like it used to. It's engineered obsolescence. It's made to break, so you'll buy another one. Well, they've done the same thing in the food industry. They've made it so you will crave more and you will buy more. And until you break that cycle, okay? And so, like, going back to liquid calories a minute, if you've been drinking diet soda for 20 years and thinking you're righteous because you're drinking diet soda, okay, you got to break that habit. Now, if you need a crutch to get through it, if you need the sparkling water with a drop of stevia in it to help you break your habit, do it. I mean, you will find that some things are more addictive than others. Okay, like me personally, it's not sweets for me. It's starches. Everybody's got their own little thing. And Going cold turkey works for some people, but usually with diet, it's better if you, especially if you're starting to talk about like just like you've been doing nothing and you just want to get your diet, or you say you want to lose weight. Here's a scenario. You say you want to lose weight and you saw this great thing about fasting. So you're just going to fast for 48 hours. You're going to be white knuckling it. I would not even try that. Get your diet in some semblance of order, regular. Now, I think fasting is very beneficial, but it's not beneficial if you've been eating a high carb diet, standard American diet, full of chemicals, blah, blah, and all that stuff. And then you just decide to straight up fast for 48 hours. You're going to be in withdrawal. Seriously. And that's what happens lots of times when people want to come off liquid calories. It's a struggle.
Right.
Okay. So flip side of that, you got to hydrate aggressively. Lots of times people are super tired when they try and lose weight. You need to add electrolytes. You got to be hydrating correctly. And if you cut out your usual liquid calories, you still got to give your body something else. So you need to use the water. You need to, if you need coffee, find a way that it works for you. I mean, I put butter and cream in my coffee.
Gasp. Kimberly, gasp. Tell us more about that before we go to break.
I just think it's great that it just works for me. I mean, a lot of people, and I have people, we were on the cruise and the guy's like, I think he thought something weird was in my coffee because he saw the, he saw the oily sheen on
He's
top.
horrified it might be a dirty glass, right?
I think so. And I explained it and he was like, oh, I don't know that he'd ever seen that. But,
So that's fat calories.
Yeah, there's a little nuance. Everybody has to find what works for them. Some things that work for me might not work for you, but the overarching thing is we're all humans and our physiology is the same. There's nuance, but saying what works for you doesn't work for me, not so much.
I guess the safe assumption there is the answer to that is no, except in certain specific situations, right?
Right. I would say, yeah.
What do we have next?
Okay. Prioritize sleep. Very, very important. Americans just think it's not important. You think because you can, and I get it. I remember the days where you get the kids into bed and you're up till midnight, 1, because it's the only time you have to yourself, or it's the only time you have to mop the floor, or it's the only time you have to get anything done. But your body is meant to operate on a cycle. So when it gets off, things happen. It likes to be, you go to bed at pretty much the same time, get up pretty much at the same time, and throughout the night, certain things happen at certain times. And if you're awake when that certain thing was supposed to happen, it doesn't happen. So it ends up being a stress overall in your body. Your insulin isn't controlled. If you stay up late, you have 30% less insulin control the next day. You more than likely are going to overeat. It just kind of, it's like a stone rolling down the hill. It just kind of like exacerbates itself. Your cortisol is raised. As long as your cortisol is high, your insulin's going to stay high. All contributes to not helping you lose weight. If your sleep is off, your fat loss is going to stall. Your sleep has a lot more to do with hunger than you think. And I would say 7 to 9 hours a night. And sometimes it helps if you, I take magnesium glycinate and L-theanine before I go to bed.
These are supplements that anyone can get.
Yep. You can get over the counter. Just make sure they don't have junk in them. Like if they've got rice flour, magnesium stearate, any of that. No.
Keep going.
So, got to get your sleep. And, I would also just kind of on the back end of that, it raises your cortisol, but please stop doing endless cardio. If you think that's the way to lose weight, it's not. You're just raising your cortisol.
Okay, we'll be back for this short message. Are you an amateur radio operator or are considering becoming one and have an interest in learning more about antennas and related technical topics? I'm an electrical engineer with 41 plus years experience, and I hope to help anyone with an appetite to become more familiar with antennas. Please visit my website at www.hamradio.me for details. Thank you. And we are back with Kimberley Huggins with tips and techniques on path to weight loss and health gain, part 2. So we were on sleep.
Well, no, we were on stop doing cardio.
Got it.
Because raises your cortisol. So just to give a little, and this is why when the doctor tells you just lose weight and you do calories in, calories out, eat more, eat less, burn. Eat less, move more. There you go. This is why that doesn't work. So cardio teaches your body to conserve fat. Okay, so think about it. When you were on the elliptical for an hour, okay, to your body, your body thinks that's, let me back up. It's stress to your body. So short-term stress is good for your body, okay? Your body has to engage and adapt. But our bodies were never meant to have long-term stress. We evolved, stress for the human was no food or chased by a tiger, okay? So your body is not meant to be on the elliptical for an hour because your body thinks, oh my gosh, I'm being chased by a tiger for an hour. I mean, that would never happen. You would either get away or you'd be dead. So it wouldn't have lasted an hour. Okay. Eventually, over time, your thyroid output lowers, your testosterone level lowers, you get muscle loss. So there's fewer calories burned at rest. That's another reason why you don't want to lose your muscle from Ozempic. But anyway, your fat loss will stall and eventually you'll start to gain weight again. Which is why I would also say running. If running is something you've been doing since you were 20 and it's a stress reliever for you, great. Don't stop doing it. But if you're 50 and you're thinking, I'm going to go out and run a marathon, skip it. Okay? Because that's not the best thing for your body. It is important to find a way to de-stress. Okay, that's another thing you need to do to lose weight because chronic stress literally locks fat on your body. Okay, so you can be under stress from a lot of things. You can be under stress from money. You can be under stress if you've got a high stress job. If you have family problems. I mean, there's all kinds of stress. But you can't out-diet a fried nervous system. That's something you got to solve. And that is nuanced because the same things don't work for every person. Like somebody could go take a walk and de-stress. That might not work for you. Maybe massage works for you. Maybe meditation. Like personally, meditation makes me crazy. I cannot everybody's into mindfulness and meditation. No. That literally stresses me out. If it works for you, great. Find something that works for you. You got to find a way to manage it. It's not really optimal because cortisol's high, you're locking fat on your body, and it's a number one driver of heart disease. So stop eating 3 hours before bed. Early eating improves fat loss and glucose and sleep. Most of the time you're not hungry, you're dehydrated. So pay attention to that.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah. If you're really interested in weight loss, but you're like, okay, I just can't give up. I just can't do low carb. I just can't do it yet. I can't do it. Maybe you're a moderator. I think we had an episode about that one time. Are you going to be a moderator or an abstainer?
Oh, interesting. Moderator.
Like you still want to be able to eat certain things.
Oh, in moderation. I got it.
No, okay. But now I would say if you've already been diagnosed a type 2, you can't afford to moderate.
Yeah, that should be a siren call.
Right. But let's say you're the person, okay, I can't just start. I have to gradually, okay, just give up the refined carbs. Okay. Remember, all carbs are sugar. It's metabolically dysfunctional. So just give that up. Okay. Maybe you're not ready to give up your sweet potato or your potatoes, although I would say potatoes are awful for diabetics, but that's another show. I'd say if you're just not ready to go all in, start there. Get rid of the processed foods. Get rid of the refined foods.
Let me ask you something real quick about that. Are refined foods typically carb-based?
Yeah. Now, okay, let me back up a minute. I get into that sometimes with people online who are just, I think they're just trying to be ridiculous about it. So when you say, don't eat processed foods, and they'll be like, well, cheese is processed. Okay, I'm not talking about like one step from the cow. Yeah, it's processed, but it's still good. It's still okay to eat. Okay. I'm talking about like white bread, which literally has nothing. There's no life in it at all. It's like.
Most of whatever might be called benefit of the wheat.
It's gone.
Is taken away, right?
I mean, bread on the shelf, like the Wonder Bread that we grew up eating or whatever, the white bread, the 99-cent loaf, there's nothing life-giving about that.
The bread of old was not spongy good. Like,
right.
I should say it's good.
The fact
it's spongy and that's not normal.
No. The fact that you can have bread on your counter for a month and it doesn't mold is not a plus. Cereal, I would also say, stop eating cereal. Cereal is straight up junk food. I don't care if you think you're eating the healthy health because it's got the heart healthy Cheerios on the box. No. It's all full of glyphosate. It's all, and then, it has all the fortified with all that's synthetic vitamins and minerals, which your body doesn't even recognize.
Well, what caused the fortification craze, I think, around turn of the last century?
Well, a lot of things happened because we have kids in society that are being born with defects, neural tube defects. That's why they put folic acid in everything, because they don't want kids to have neural tube defects. Okay, I don't want kids to have neural tube defects either. They won't if their mother's eating properly. Okay. Mm-hmm. Putting a fake thing into the whatever isn't the way. But a lot of stuff got put into our food system. Best of intentions. Okay. But long term hasn't necessarily turned out that way. A lot of problems have been solved over the last 100 years simply because everybody got clean water and everybody got sanitation, and we didn't have sewage running down the streets of the cities anymore. And people learned, I guess we maybe do need to wash our hands before we birth the baby. And, so that is a lot of what contributed to people getting healthier. It's not necessarily because medicine saved us or something was added to our food to save us. It was because we started doing these other things. And now we're all sick because of all the stuff that's in our food that shouldn't be in there to begin with. Whole nother topic. So weightlifting, very important. If you don't want to go to the gym, if you don't want to pay for a gym, I understand that. But
lift heavy things is what motto is, right?
You've got to find a way to lift heavy things. You've got to have stress on your body because that's what keeps your bones strong. Okay. And if you don't want to, like when you get older, I just want to tell you, if you're over 60, a broken hip will change your life, not in a good way. And if you're over 70, the statistics are you're dead in 6 months with a broken hip. And it's very easy to get a broken hip. If you're weak, if you can't, walk really well, if you aren't doing the things that keep you strong, that's what happens. And then I guess I would also add, this isn't really, it is a tip because I do think it matters. Find movement you enjoy. You should be moving your body. So whatever that means for you, if it's walking, if it's swimming, dancing, you have to find movement. This is really hard because our societies are not set up this way now. They used to be. They're not anymore. And people are used to just sitting all the time. You sit in an office all day and then you come home and you sit in front of the TV and then you go to bed. And we don't think anything of it, but it's killing us. Our bodies are meant to move and they need to move. And I would also say that I don't believe in motivation. Like if you want to lose weight, a lot of people say, oh, I just need something to motivate me. I don't think that's correct. I think you just do the thing. And if you're consistent, if you don't like the word discipline, I mean, that's what it is to me. But if you don't like that word, you can say persistent. You can say consistent. You just have to do it regularly. And then when you see results, that becomes your motivation. Now, I will say if you're a sick person, if you are metabolically not healthy, I would say your motivation could be, do you want to get sicker? Specifically talking about diabetes. Do you want your do you want your foot amputated? Do you want to go blind? Do you want your kidneys to fail? Do you want to have to go to kidney dialysis 3 days a week?
These are things that type 2 folks can get even if they're under management, right?
Well, this is the thing. They tell you and it is management, okay? But it's management to a bad end because there are no medications that don't have side effects. And if you think, now this is going to be hard to hear for some people. I mean, whoever hears it. But if you think you can take medication for diabetes and keep eating whatever you want, you're lying to yourself. It'll work for a little while, but eventually you'll need more medication and more medication. And then one day the medication is not going to work anymore. And in the meantime, you're going to be miserable because your whole body's going to be full of fluid and you're going to have the sore on your leg that doesn't heal. And maybe you've been in the hospital for a few weeks for wound treatment and that doesn't end well. And I don't want to be like that. And the kidney thing is a big deal because if you have to go to dialysis 3 days a week, you have no life. That's your life. Kidney dialysis.
Yeah.
It's not somewhere anyone should want to be. So your goal, your purpose in life should be to stay out of the medical system, to be on the least amount of medications as possible. And it is possible to come off medication with type 2. And even if you have type 1, you can take a lot less insulin if you pay attention to your diet.
Yeah, that's a glowing fact that you've mentioned before in previous episodes.
Just looking at my notes here to see if I saw anything else. Did you have any question? I do recommend drinking coffee. It's a good appetite suppressant. I also recommend eggs every day. They're a superfood. We went through that time in our life where they told us not to eat eggs, and then they told us just eat the whites, don't eat the yolk. That's all bull. 100% of it, what egg nutrient, it's absorbed in your body. Think about an egg that literally can grow an entire animal. So it's perfect nutrition. I'm sorry if, vegan, vegetarian people out there don't like that idea in the head, but it's what it is. I recommend you stay away from peanut butter. It's high carb, and most of the peanut butter that you get out is full of seed oils.
Is there any, say you can't give up your peanut butter, or just throwing it out there.
There's clean versions out there. I mean, I buy one for Dylan.
It's just peanuts, isn't it?
It's, peanuts and salt. Some brands are better than others as far as it'll separate because, it has oil in it. Okay.
Right. And you can get some exercise by stirring that oil back into the peanut butter. So there's actually an advantage to it rather than the creamy stuff that never, ever separates. That should make you wonder why.
There's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason. No snacking.
Not every 2 hours?
No. Snacking is an invention of modern times. And sadly, if you go to diabetes education, they'll tell you often, your 3 meals and 2 snacks a day. No.
So why are they saying that?
This is just a theory, but I think they're taking the idea of stable blood sugar, which basically is a hypoglycemic idea. So when your blood sugar is too low, that's hypoglycemic, okay? So those people do have to eat throughout the day to try and keep their sugar stable. They don't want it to crash. Anybody remember Steel Magnolias when Julia Roberts had the episode in the hair salon? Her blood sugar crashed and they gave her juice. That's okay because she needed the sugar. She would have gone into a coma and died, and that's actually what happens at the end of the movie. So not talking about hypoglycemics, but I think they kind of took the idea that you need stable blood sugar
to a stable food supply.
Well, your body is capable of having blood sugar in a range on its own. Unless you've broken that somehow, unless that system is broken, you do it. You don't need an outside. Well, that's not even true. Let me back up a little bit. Think about humans when they were still hunter-gatherers, before they were in settled societies. Okay. Do you think they ate every 2 hours? Do you think they had access to food every 2 hours? Then how did we survive as a species? Because we didn't need access to food every 2 hours. Okay. And so we live in such a time of abundance now. I mean, think about it, people. You could literally go and get Cold Stone ice cream, waffle cone, 3 scoops, chocolate, whipped cream, sprinkles, whatever, every single day. 3 times a day, if you wanted to. Never in the history of humanity have we had access to as much food as we do now. And our bodies are not designed for that. So it's as much as you might want to eat. And this is the other thing. If you've been on a high carb diet, and I know because I've been there, I loved food. I loved eating. I loved thinking about what I was going to eat. And another side note, this is another show, but most of us don't have the right relationship with food. Food really shouldn't be like that to you. Food is nourishment for your body. You eat to make yourself strong. You eat to be healthy. You want your kids to eat the right things so they will grow and their brains will get big and they will get tall and they will be strong. but it shouldn't be like the focus of your life. It shouldn't be like as soon as you eat, within an hour, you're thinking about what you're going to eat for lunch.
Right.
Okay. That is how an addict behaves. And people don't really want to hear that they're addicted to food, but they are, because sugar is a drug and it works on your brain just like cocaine. So anyway, my point is every time you eat, you jack your insulin and your insulin will stay high then. You're never giving your insulin the opportunity to come down because you're eating every 2 hours. That keeps you fat. So no snacking. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, I'm just a grazer. I like to graze. No, you don't. You're not a cow. No grazing. Most Americans, unless you're an athlete, unless you're a kid growing or an athlete, 2 meals a day is plenty. And if you're eating correctly, you won't be hungry. If you're eating the right nutritious foods with protein and fat, you won't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. I got to have something to eat. It's 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock and you're going to the vending machine to get your bag of potato chips that you have every day.
I remember those days.
I do too.
And I haven't had that in years.
Oh.
That craving, that need for something.
It goes away. It really does. And it's just
it's freeing, to be honest with you.
It is. And that's how you know it really is a drug, because the more you eat it, the more you have to have it. And if you can get away from it for a while, the craving will diminish. Now, there is something to a mental thing. Like I told you before, potatoes are my thing. Like even now, what are we, 3 years into new eating or whatever? Potatoes are still difficult for me. But that's because, as crazy as it sounds, but it's true. It's an emotional thing for me. I have an emotional thing about potatoes. And I mean, I love potatoes any way I could get them. Fried with cheese. I mean, hash brown casserole at Cracker Barrel. Loved it. Okay. I used to make it here in the house. I would make the copycat thing of, hash brown casserole. So, but that's just sugar talking. And I will say, I think this is one of the things that's really hard for Americans to get. Most Americans can understand, I need to lose some weight. I got to lay off the sweets. So they stop going to Cold Stone and they stop getting the mocha woka frappuccino every day. And they're not getting the Little Debbie ho-hos and they're laying off the cookies. But they're still eating rice, a lot of rice. And they're still eating potatoes, a lot of potatoes. And they're still eating their French fries because, it comes with a hamburger. Hey, And people don't think of that as sugar. But to your body, it's sugar. And I would also say, now this is going to blow everybody's brain too, but if you really want to lose weight, you got to ditch the fruit. The fructose goes straight to your liver. Your body can't even process it. It has to go straight to your liver. And if you're metabolically damaged or trying to lose weight, pineapple, sugar, apple sugar. I mean, berries occasionally, but for the most part,
are they lower in fructose?
Correct.
And sugars?
Most fruit is not your friend. And I know that's a hard one because we've all been told that fruit is so healthy. It's so good for you. And the fiber and the vitamins and the phytonutrients. And no. It's just keeping your insulin up.
A lot of fruit has been bred to be ever sweeter, hasn't it?
True. And it's bigger. So an apple you used to get out. Like if you grew an apple, if you used to go to your grandma's apple tree and pick the apple off of it and eat it.
Be about 2.5 inches diameter, maybe.
Yeah. And think about, they're bigger than...
No, they're like 4 or 5.
It's as big as a softball, some of them. Some apples are as big as a softball. Not a baseball, a softball. And then so grapes. Grapes are just straight up sugar bombs. And they're bred to be sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. Like the latest grape that just came out last year, it's called the cotton candy grape. Okay.
And I wonder if is that GMO or is that just careful breeding?
It's just breeding. But and I wouldn't even say that's obviously not a frankenfood. And, humans have used their brains to make, selectively breed all these things for their drought resistance and their insect resistant, although we're using spraying pesticides on everything now. But, the bigger ones, the sweeter ones, they're not breeding anything to make it sour. They're not, they're not doing that. So we all know it's about the sugar as far as fruit goes. So, and I know that's a lot to do just thrown at you, but, depending on what your goal is, where you are in your health journey, like for some people, they just want to lose weight and that's all their thing. Okay. But I will tell you, if you have weight to lose, you're metabolically dysfunctional, whether you know it or not. But you're overweight because your hormones are out of whack. Insulin's a hormone. Okay, so that means you're metabolically dysfunctional, whether a doctor's told you that or not. And usually you're not going to hear that from a doctor. He might tell you need to lose weight, but he's not going to give you an insulin test because there's no pill for that.
Right.
There's no pill to lower your insulin.
Only test for the cures. Well, not even cures. Only test for the treatments.
Correct. So,
is that a theme now that we're seeing?
Well, we've been seeing that. That started with statins back in the 80s. As soon as they had a pill for cholesterol level, all of a sudden everybody's cholesterol level was too high. And they just changed the range. So, and now, most doctors don't know about this, but there are studies out there. They just uncovered one and published it, that people who have higher cholesterol live longer. Why are we taking a pill to lower it? And most statins lead to muscle damage, dementia, because you're starving your brain. Your brain needs cholesterol. So if you're lowering your cholesterol,
problems.
Yeah. And it messes up your insulin.
Directly related.
Yeah. So many. Really, this is
interrelationships are a huge problem with drugs, aren't they?
Yeah. And there's no drug that you're not going to have a side effect. Now, maybe for some things that's worth the roll. Let's go back to antibiotic. You get strep throat, you take the antibiotic. Okay, it takes care of the problem. But you've trashed your gut because you took an antibiotic. You killed all the good bacteria in your gut. So it's a trade-off. It's a trade-off you have to make, but you have to be aware that it's a trade-off. But get your insulin test. Your insulin will be high for 20 years before you start to have issues. That's the important test to have.
Swinging through the grocery store should be a simple task, but it isn't.
Shop the perimeter. Stay on the outside.
And it's still good. The perimeter's still good the modern stores.
You got to read labels. Like if you're getting, you can't get heavy cream in the store anymore.
Okay, Kimberly. Thank you again. We're out of time. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to the Transmitter 42 podcast. If you would like to send us feedback or suggestions, please email us at radioshow@t42.am or send a note via U.S. mail to Transmitter 42 LLC, P.O. Box 100, Remington, Virginia 22734. All our podcasts are available for your favorite player. Visit t42.am for our catalog. Transmitter 42.